Hi, Dr. Martin Rutherford here. Success Keys to Success number 37
37 or 38?
or 38.
38.
38. And I'm chiropractor, board certified, not board certified, certified functional medicine practitioner.
Dr. Randall Gates, board certified chiropractic neurologist, also chiropractor.
So we'll start off by saying the response to our question on would people be interested in, I'm looking at the numbers here, in support group was minimal. We sent out over 700 questionnaires, and we had approximately 26 replies. 12 indicating an interest in having some sort of a meeting at the clinic, and 14 online. So that's a very, very small reply group. We were hoping to get more than that. And we get what we get. What we're going to do is we're going to give you one more week. Maybe some of you aren't aware that you were sent the survey, but we're going to give it one more week and see what the numbers look like after that. And then we'll make some decisions on if and where to go with that. Our topic for today is going to be, and this came from some of the feedback we got there, is other organized disciplines that may help you to perpetuate your recovery and keep your maintenance program strong. And there's certainly, when we got into doing chronic pain, there were so many tools out there that we had to choose from to see which tools were the most effective at producing a result in the most efficient time periods. Okay. Thus, we use Dr. Gates's skills in brain rehab because they are probably the most targeted and the most powerful exercises that you can do to change brain function in the shortest period of time, period. That more than doing brain maps or more than doing neurofeedback or all these types of things out there are just nowhere near as effective. And trust me, we've looked at all of them as being in our brain gym and doing the brain rehab. We have a stress modification program for those of you who have been in that room where we turn down the lights and expose you to a number of stimulations that are designed to bring down that overfiring fight-flight mechanism that so many of you suffer with and need to be corrected. And a lot of these actually are going to address that mechanism right there. So, but we also looked at, there was a time I had a Tai Chi practitioner here. We have an upstairs, which is where we're filming this. And certainly that we've had yoga teachers come in, and we have many, many people of faith here. And we thought we would kind of go over some of the disciplines that those people who are not already practicing them may be interested in knowing really help to keep your program in line, especially neurologically.
Mm-hmm. And probably most of these things that you just mentioned revolve around stress reduction.
Right.
So stress is the biggest battle for most of our patients, maybe secondary to the diet.
Secondary to
the diet is number one in our addiction to
close.
Food. But then stress is number two, and frequently it's the prolonged chronic stress. It's our response to stress, frankly. That's what we work with patients on a lot, in that no matter what their circumstances are, they're going to be stressed out, which is not a good thing for their physiology. So these modalities, as we have listed them out, whether it be Tai Chi, whether it be prayer, whether it be meditation, all really seem to have the effect of calming down the stress response. And so that's why we just wanted to bring them up today and encourage our patients, for whatever you feel comfortable with within your belief system, we encourage you to do it, because everything you can do to manage that stress is critically, critically important. And it really extends throughout whatever, if you do have a belief system, most belief systems do talk about fear being the enemy. And so that is a commonality. If you're agnostic or an atheist and you don't believe in that, well, then we just talk the science and basically read the book, Why Zebras Don't Get the Ulcers, and you'll get a good feel for why stress is so bad. And if you've spent any time with us, I think you know at this point. So that's where those principles are really helpful.
Yeah, prayer, I've said to many of you that come in, people who seem to have a spiritual center seem to do better in this program. And I think it's because they have an additional tool to calm down that immune system, to calm down stress mechanism, and ultimately the immune system while they're going through this. Meditation, for those of you who meditate, was separate from an organized spiritual discipline. It kind of does the same thing relative to the brain, relative to brain function. Yoga is fantastic because it calms down the stress mechanisms. It also is very stimulating to the cerebellum for those people who are in here who have cerebellar problems, which is almost everybody who walks in the door, it seems like. Tai Chi is the same. Tai Chi is very good. No, it's for those of you who are dizziness, vertigo, or balance patients. This is really a spectacular adjunct to the types of things that we're doing. Tai Chi, there's many studies on how Tai Chi improves balance and has even been suggested to be put in hospitals and nursing home facilities to prevent falls. It also strengthens your cerebellum, dizziness, vertigo, balance problems, and walking. If you can walk, and usually by the time we're done, most of our patients can walk. A lot of you come in, you can't exercise, you're tired, you're overweight, you have no motivation, your frontal lobes are not doing well. Walking affects your cerebellum and your frontal lobes. We are meant to walk. As human beings, the one thing we are meant to do is walk. It basically kind of stimulates all the systems of the body. It gets your blood flowing, it stimulates your brain, it stimulates your frontal lobe, it stimulates your cerebellum. It gets your lymphatics flowing. It's good for digestion. It's just good for everything. I mean, we are human beings. That's how we originally got from one place to the other before the wheel. Okay. And so, it's funny how our physiology was clearly meant to be part of nature. And I don't want to get too far out there for you, for those of you who may be conservative in a sense of not getting that. Okay. But what we're treating is physiology that is no longer in sync with nature. Okay. Immune systems that are out of control, stress mechanisms that are out of control, maybe because of the way society has gotten. Maybe our brains just haven't evolved, or maybe that's not a good word for some of our patients, but haven't been able to adapt, maybe is a better word, adapt to the increased amount of stress, the decreased amounts of sleep, the increased amounts of stimulation that we're getting. These disciplines are excellent for calming those down. There are other things. I mean, I think there's somebody in town that has like a sensory deprivation chamber.
Okay.
We just lay in this chamber. It's literally like so quiet. And I happen to know where he is because he's right near where I go to get a massage. But these types of things that calm that system down and kind of get your physiology back in sync with your environment, they're all very helpful, and they're more fun to do. Maybe they're more fun to do than the cerebellar exercise, but they take a little bit more of a commitment. You have to go and find a good teacher. But if you do these, I invariably have patients who come in and say, hey, listen, I started yoga, I started Tai Chi, so on and so forth. And it's really helped. And it just is something that can be very, very, very beneficial. So that syncs with what we're doing. We're not against it. We're actually for it. Why don't we have it here? Because it just isn't something that seems to create the type of results initially when you're in that fiery fight flight mechanism where your brain's pedal is to the metal and you're just flooding your system with stress hormones. It just requires way more of a direct hit to calm that down, and then ultimately all of this in turn probably also helps to keep that immune system a little bit more under control. So, so those are things.
Yeah.
If you have any other suggestions or any other disciplines that you find really help you that you'd like to share with other patients, please let us know, and we'll share that in future keys to success.
And so any other topics you want to hear about, let us know.
Yeah. So please look at the survey. And if you're not interested, that's okay. That tells us you're not interested. That was one of the things that we were trying to determine. And so far, having 12 and 14, having 26 out of 700 people might indicate a low level of interest, or it might just indicate people haven't responded or don't realize that they needed to respond. So if you can help us with that, that's fine. And then we'll make some decisions based on the responses or lack of responses that we get this week. Mm-hmm. All right. So we'll see you next week. Okay.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Right. Bye.